The casket is small, too small. A dull motor hums, ropes slip through metal, and Caleb's white walks sinks against a sky the color of wet slate. My fingers won't behave. They stutter against the black of my dress, claw at each other, vanish into pockets that can't hold this much shaking. Tears run, unasked and uninterested in dignity. A cemetery worker waits for my signal, hands on the brake like he's asking me where to park grief. I'm not ready, I say, but it comes out as air. Destiny? Angela's voice is worn wool, soft, warm, lived in. She's beside me with that cardigan she always wears, the one that still smells faintly of onions from all the soups she carried into my kitchen. Her palm settles light on my arm. It steadies nothing, and somehow everything. Wind whistles through the hedges, the minister's words evaporate. I see instead the curve of Caleb's ear under hospital tape. The way he'd say, "I'm okay, Mom," just before a needle went in. Brave like a lie and true like a prayer. They aren't here. I feel the absence like a hole punched through my ribs. No parents, no Victoria, no Melissa. 8 months in wards that smelled of bleach and pennies, and today, empty folding chairs. The only witness to my child's last descent is a neighbor who learned our schedule better than my family ever did. The worker shifts. "Ma'am?" "Give her a moment," Angela says. The steel in her voice surprises him. He eases back. My phone vibrates in my pocket. A reflex. Thumb swipe, screen glow, before my brain catches up. Victoria's Instagram splashes color across the rot of this day. A chandelier throwing diamonds over a ballroom, my parents smiling with all their teeth, Victoria's ring catching light like a trap. Grand horizon tonight, the caption sings. Time stamped 20 minutes ago. While the pulley squealed and my body learned a new kind of empty, my sister was toasting her future. I taste metal. Close the app. The earth smells wet and fresh, like it knows how to receive what I can't release. "Are you doing all right, dear?" Angela asks, softer now. "They didn't come." The words land brittle. Not one of them. Angela's mouth pinches. She looks at the dirt, at the casket, at me. "That boy loved you more than anything in this world," she says. I nod because my throat won't let me do more. The phone buzzes again. A text bubbles onto the lock screen. "Mom, we need to talk. Bring the trust documents tomorrow." I stare at it so long the letters double. My thumb moves on its own. "I'm burying my son today. I can't talk about paperwork right now." 3 dots. Fast reply. "Don't be dramatic, Destiny. This is important for the whole family." It lands with the cold, clean clarity, a blade through fog. The whole family who couldn't spare 2 hours for a funeral wants my dead child's future? The worker clears his throat. Angela answers him with a look that draws a line he decides not to cross. I reach into my coat and pull out the plastic action figure that lived in Caleb's hands through every transfusion. The paint is chipped at the helmet. I kneel and lay the toy on the casket, palm pressed to plastic, to wood, to my son. "I'll protect what's yours," I whisper. The promise clicks into place inside me like a lock engaging. "Take your time," Angela murmurs. Time doesn't change the shape of goodbye. Eventually, I nod to the worker. The brake whines, white sinks, earth opens. When it's done, the ground looks the same as always, indifferent, waiting. Angela loops her arm in mine. "I'll drive you home," she says. You can let me," she counters. Her car smells like eucalyptus and patience. Morning comes gray and damp. Oakwood Heights is a neighborhood that never learned how to be anything but tidy. flagstones power-washed, hedges trimmed to the inch, secrets pressed beneath cream siding. My parents' colonial stands with its columns square and correct, the porch swing unmoved. A silver BMW is already there, Melissa's. Her license plate frame still says Sunrise Yoga, and I want to rip it off with my teeth. The door opens before I knock. My father looks like he always looks. Suit pressed, jaw set, eyes calculating how to appear supportive. "Destiny," he says, stepping aside. "Come in. We've been waiting." Inside, the living room pretends to be neutral. Cream sofa, mahogany coffee table set like a stage. A leather folder, fountain pen, documents squared to 90 degrees. Victoria perches with her ankles crossed, the diamond installed on her hand like an alarm system. Melissa sits beside her, eyes on her manicure, the new habit she developed when I started crying in hospital hallways. My mother stands by the mantel, fingertips resting on a family photo where we are all smiling, a picture taken before I understood smiles could lie. No one says Caleb's name. No one says, "I'm sorry." "We need to reallocate the trust with Victoria as trustee," my father begins, business voice on. He slides a paper toward me and taps where he wants the ink. "Sign here and here." I don't touch the pen. "What are you talking about?" "You're in no condition to manage this kind of responsibility," Victoria says, leaning forward. Her tone is soothing in the way a lid can be soothing if it's made to fit your mouth. My mother tilts her head, sympathy dripped like honey. "You've always been impulsive with finances. Remember the boutique idea after college? Thank goodness your father talked you out of it." Melissa lifts her gaze for half a second, then drops it. Her silence feels like a verdict. "We've spoken with Ethan's lawyer," my father adds, tapping another document. "Given your mental state, he agrees this is prudent." The phrase punches the air out of me. I pick up a page. Words blur until one set sharpens. Mental competency evaluation. Another sheet peeks from beneath. Legal printouts on trust law, dated 14 months ago. "You started researching this when Caleb got sick. While I was sleeping in chairs, you were planning how to take his money if he died." Victoria's smile curdles. "You're exaggerating again. This is exactly why we're concerned." My father slides yet another form across the table. "If you refuse to sign, we'll petition for guardianship. The court will understand grief has compromised your judgment." There it is, the shape of their love. A blueprint corner peeks under the trust papers. I tug it free. Kitchen remodel, home theater, waterfall pool, an indecent number scribbled in the corner with a contractor's flourish. Victoria's new house in black and white lines, built atop my son. "You never visited him." My voice has lost heat. Only a clean edge remains. Victoria replies, bored with subterfuge, "Some of us handle it better." "Why now?" I look at each of them. "Why the rush?" A glance passes between them like a handoff. "Fine, you deserve to know. Robert's development is facing a temporary cash flow issue. The wedding might need to be postponed unless we secure additional funding." My mother touches her pearls. "And the Hilton Head property, the market turned, we're extended." "We're not villains," my father says, gentling his tone as if I'm a problem client. "We're family, facing difficult circumstances." Melissa speaks for the first time, low and fast. "My divorce is final next month. Victoria promised me a job at Robert's company. I have the twins to think about." They are not cartoon monsters. They are simply people willing to lay me on the altar of their comfort. "If you don't sign," my father says, the hard tone from childhood, "don't walk away from this table." I stand. The room shifts, everyone rising as if pulled on wires. I slide the folder under my arm like a shield and head for the door. Outside, the air is damp and sweet with cut grass. I make it to my car before my body remembers how to shake. My phone buzzes. "Angela, how did it go? I'm here if you need me." Another call overlays it.
Arizona area code. Ethan's parents. I answer, and Martha's voice pours through, warm and cracked. Destiny, dear, we just heard. We're so sorry we weren't there. We loved that boy. Me too, I say, and the words are a thread I pull to keep from unraveling. We're with you, George adds, rough and certain, whatever you need. I hang up and remember a name Ethan said once at the kitchen table. Paperwork spread, Caleb building a block tower at our feet. If anything happens, call Richard Donovan. He's the best. I open my contacts. There he is. The number is just digits until I press it. A receptionist answers with the calm of people who have seen storms. Richard Donovan's office. My name is Destiny Walker. It's about the Caleb Walker Trust. I need to speak with him immediately. Can you come in this afternoon? I see the action figure on white wood. I hear Angela's firm give her a moment. I picture my mother's text while a casket hung between sky and dirt. Yes, I say. Text me the address. I set the phone down, breathe, and look in the rear view. My face is pale, mascara gone to salt. Behind me, the house glows beige and harmless. Inside, the people who share my last name are discussing line items and emergencies that have nothing to do with a boy who wore superhero pajamas to chemo. I'll protect what's yours, I tell the empty passenger seat. And for the first time since the motor whined and the ropes paid out, my hands stop trembling.
Richard Donovan's office smells like polished wood and old books, rooms where people plan wars in quiet voices. The receptionist leads me past glassed-in conference rooms to a corner office with floor-to-ceiling windows and a desk the size of a small continent. Richard stands when I enter. 60, silver hair, combed straight back, reading glasses low on his nose. He studies my face first, then the folder under my arm. Ms. Walker, he says, voice level as a spirit level. I'm very sorry for your loss. I set the leather folder down. Thank you. Sit. He gestures to a chair built like a verdict. I lower myself into it and the room steadies. Burgundy rug, diplomas, a bowl of hard candies no one touches. I push the folder toward him. Everything I have, trust documents, texts, the papers they shoved at me this morning. He opens the folder with a surgeon's care. Pages whisper. A pen taps once against the desk, then goes still. He scans, stops, goes back, nods to himself. They told me I'm not competent, I say, the word sour in my mouth. They said they'll petition for guardianship if I don't sign control to my sister. He looks up sharply. They didn't attend the funeral? I shake my head. He removes his glasses and rubs to the bridge of his nose. Your ex-husband was thorough. Ethan spent hours in this office. He wasn't just establishing a fund, he was building a fence around it. He reaches into a drawer and produces a manila folder with Ethan's name tabbed in neat block letters. He slides out a notarized page. Ethan's handwriting slants across the top. Steady, familiar. The room tilts. Richard reads, voice even. This trust is to secure Caleb's future. If the worst occurs, the remainder will provide for Destiny, the parent who has sacrificed career, assets, and time to care for him. No third parties are to direct or control the fund without her explicit consent. My eyes burn in a way that isn't tears, but pressure releasing. Ethan saw the shape of today when I refused to look. There's more, Richard says. He swivels his monitor so I can see. A spreadsheet glows on the screen. Dates, times, phone numbers. My parents' landline, Victoria's cell, Melissa's number. What is that? I ask. Our call logs, he says. 14 months ago, when Caleb was first hospitalized, your family began phoning this office. They never reached me. My assistant flagged the names and declined to discuss anything without your authorization. But they were active. He scrolls. The list lengthens. My stomach drops through the floor. They've been planning this longer than I knew.
Richard nods once. They'll come at you on the only angle that can bypass the trust, your capacity. They will try to paint you as too broken to decide. He pushes my phone back across the desk. Do you have their messages from the funeral day? I open the thread, hand the phone over. He reads my mother's "don't be dramatic" and sets the device down like evidence he doesn't want to smear with prints. I want this above board and in daylight, he says. We set a meeting on your terms, public place, neutral ground. Then we document. You do not sign anything. You ask a simple question and let them answer it in front of witnesses. What question? Why didn't you come to Caleb's funeral, he says. Say his name out loud and watch what they do. Riverside Coffee is a long room wrapped in noise, steam shrieking from milk wands, silverware clattering, a mid-afternoon crush that never quite thins. I pick a corner table facing the door. Angela is in her Buick across the street, phone in her lap, eyes on the glass. Richard is a speed dial away. I lay the manila envelope on the table. Inside, printouts of Victoria's time-stamped party photos, a copy of Ethan's intent statement, and the highlighted clause barring any amendment without grant or consent. I order water I won't drink and count the tiles on the floor until the bell over the door dings. They arrive like a procession that believes in its own parade. Victoria first, sunglasses even though we're indoors. My parents behind her, faces composed into concern. Melissa follows, head down, shoulders rounded. They sit without ordering. Victoria's gaze goes straight to the envelope. Please tell me you've come to your senses. I place my hand on the cardboard flap. Before anything else, I say, tell me why none of you came to Caleb's funeral. My mother's sigh is theatrical enough to draw a few glances. Destiny, we've been over this. The engagement was planned. It was your grandson's funeral, I say. And we grieved in our own way, my father adds, voice low for the room. Everyone processes loss differently. I slide the first printout on the table. 4 dancing figures, champagne raised, the caption singing. The timestamp glows like a brand, 11:28 a.m.
While we lowered his casket, I say, voice even, you were toasting. Victoria's mouth thins. You're taking that out of context. I lay down a second sheet. Ethan's intention statement, the no third-party clause highlighted in yellow. Ethan made his intentions clear. The trust cannot be modified, transferred, or administered by anyone but me. My father reaches for the page. I pull it back before his fingers touch the paper. We're prepared to petition for guardianship, he says, dropping courtesy. If you won't accept help. You mean if I won't hand you my son's legacy? I reply. Victoria leans forward, smile lacquered. You don't deserve that money, Destiny. You'll burn through it. A boutique here, a whim there. Lower your voice, my mother hisses. Why? I ask, steady. Worried people will hear how you skipped your nephew's funeral and came for his account? Chairs scrape as heads turn. A barista pauses mid-pour. Victoria's cheeks flush a dangerous fuchsia. For a moment, the mask slips. Underneath is hunger. My father's tone goes cold. Be sensible. Sign, and we can keep this private. Refuse, and we will do what's necessary. I'm not signing anything, I say, standing. I tuck the envelope under my arm. Not today, not ever. Destiny, my father says, threat under glass. You're making a mistake. Not the first, but this isn't one. I walk out into air that tastes like rain. Angela's Buick blinks its headlights once. I slide into the passenger seat and let my head fall back. You did it, she says. Not over, I answer. Not over, she agrees, but you didn't flinch. My phone rings. Richard. How'd our cafe theater play? He asks. They showed the whole audience who they are, I say. Good. Expect escalation. He pauses. Destiny, go home. Lock your doors. I'll prep what we need. The knock lands like a mallet. 3 heavy blows that rattle the chain on my front door.
Dusk has dropped its weight across my house. The lamps cast small circles that don't touch each other. I wipe my hands on a dish towel and check the peephole. Sheriff's hat, neutral face, envelope in hand. My stomach goes cold. Miss Walker, he tips the brim when I open the door. You've been served. The envelope is thick and wrong. I close the door softly behind it and slit it open with a butter knife at the kitchen counter. Emergency petition for guardianship stares up at me in 14-point font. The affidavits are clipped behind the petition, like knives behind a smile. The first signature is Melissa's. 3 pages of small betrayals stuffed with dates. The night I called at 3 a.m. when Caleb wheezed and the pediatrician's line kept me on hold. The morning I forgot to eat and got dizzy. The hallway where I slid down the wall and cried into my knees after a doctor said the word palliative for the first time. I grip the counter until the laminate squeaks. They're using love as evidence. My phone buzzes. Richard. They filed, I say. I know. I just got the docket alert. Are you alone? Angela's a street away. Good. Listen to me. We've prepared for this. I've already drafted the response. Ethan's parents land at 9 in the morning. The Ethics Committee is opening an investigation into the records breach. What breach? Someone accessed Caleb's full medical file using an outdated emergency contact form. It traces back to your sister. The room tilts again. I set a palm flat on the cool counter. They'll twist everything. They'll try, but we're not playing defense anymore. A news alert lights my screen. Local paper. A headline crawls across my lock screen. Family seeks help for grieving mother. My parents sip toast in their living room, sorrow arranged on their faces. A pull quote from my father. This breaks our hearts, but we must protect her from herself. I clicked to social media. Victoria's posted a childhood photo of the two of us, her arm around 7-year-old me. Sometimes love means hard choices, the caption reads. Hashtags nest under it like ticks. Hashtag family first. Hashtag mental health matters. A hot, clean anger cuts through panic. They're putting me on trial before the hearing. Courts don't read hashtags, Richard says. I've filed a motion to strike the emergency. I've appended witness statements, hospital schedules, your financial records. Dr. Levine's affidavit is in my inbox. He praises your decision-making. Angela's journals are gold. A chime at my doorbell. I check the camera. Victoria stands on the porch alone, hair pulled back, face arranged into concern. The camera's red light blinks. It's recording. Don't open it, he says, as if he's in the foyer with me. I chain the door and pull it a hand's width open. What do you want? Her voice is soft enough to bruise. To help you avoid humiliation. No, I say. We can withdraw the emergency petition, she says, eyes flicking up to the camera and back. If you sign over administrative control, this can be quiet. Your episodes can stay private. Episodes. I let the words sit there. The night you called Melissa hysterical, the time the hospital nurse filed a concern because you couldn't remember a dosage, we can make those disappear. Or we can make you disappear. I feel something unlock inside me, like a door I'd been leaning against swings open and I'm standing straight. You should leave. Her jaw flexes. The veneer cracks. You think you deserve that money? You were always a burden. We carried you. I close the door. The chain rattles once. Silence blooms on the other side like mold. I forward the clip to Richard. His 3 dots on his chat bubble flicker. Then, perfect. Mask off. Save everything. Angela arrives 10 minutes later with an overnight bag and a thermos that smells like cinnamon and steadiness. She sets the tea on the table, eyes falling to the petition spread like a crime scene. They finally showed their teeth, she says, voice low. So will we, I answer. We sit at my kitchen table under a pool of light, tea steaming, the manila envelope opened like a mat between us. Outside, night presses its forehead to the window. Inside, the rooms of my house hold their breath. Tomorrow? Angela asks. Tomorrow, I say, and touch the locket at my throat. The photo inside is smoothed with handling. Sleep doesn't come. I drift to the doorway of Caleb's room and stand there until my eyes adjust. The glow-in-the-dark stars we stuck to the ceiling still hold their faint light, constellations we named after superheroes and dinosaurs and the nurses he liked best. I won't let them rewrite us, I whispered to the dark. Down the hall, the petition waits on the table. In the morning, I will carry it into a courtroom that smells like old wood and judgment. Tonight, I memorize the sound of my house breathing and promise my son again, in a voice that does not shake, I will protect what's yours.
All rise. Benches creak. Feet scrape, and the room takes one breath together as Judge Marion Peabody steps through the side door. She's 60-ish, silver hair pulled into a severe knot, black robe falling like a curtain that will not be moved by wind or tears. The seal above her bench stares down with its bronze, unblinking eye. We sit. My pulse hammers in my throat. Richard's hand rests 2 fingers on the table, one soft tap, and I steady. Across the aisle, my parents and Victoria arrange themselves into a portrait of solemn concern. Melissa's chin tilts toward her lap, a pen turning in her fingers as if she's studying for a test she already knows she'll pass. The clerk reads, "Emergency petition for guardianship. Walker et al. Versus Destiny Walker." Judge Peabody looks over her glasses. "These are serious allegations. Counsel for petitioners, you may proceed." Their attorney rises, all polished confidence and midnight blue suit. "Your Honor, this is a case of love acting in extremis, a family trying to protect their daughter and sister in the wake of unthinkable tragedy. Ms. Walker's grief has rendered her unable to manage her affairs, especially the substantial trust at issue, which, unmanaged, is at risk." He turns to the gallery with calibrated sorrow. "Our petition seeks only to keep her safe." He calls Melissa first. She walks to the stand, palms flat on the rail for the oath, eyes fixed somewhere above the judge's shoulder. Under questioning, her voice is careful, each sentence packaged in tissue paper. "Destiny changed during Caleb's illness. She became obsessive. She called me at 3 a.m. sobbing. She forgot to eat. Once she couldn't remember a medication time and had a panic attack in the hallway. I was afraid for her." My chest tightens. I remember the fluorescent light the color of old milk, the vending machine humming aimlessly, my body shaking itself empty because a doctor had said palliative, like a door closing. Melissa had held my hand then. I hear the snap of that memory breaking. My mother takes the stand next, Kleenex in hand. She dabs at tears that appear and disappear on command, her voice trembling in all the right places. "We love our daughter. We've watched her spiral. She isolates. She won't accept help. We're terrified she'll be exploited. This is not about money." She shakes her head slowly, a practiced heartbreak. "This is about saving our child." My father follows, steady, reasonable, the executive who knows his numbers. "Ms. Walker has made erratic financial decisions," he says, sliding papers toward the bailiff to pass up, bank statements photocopied and highlighted. "Overdrafts, late payments." He glances back at me with a performance of regret. "She quit steady work. The trust is substantial, and without proper oversight—" Richard doesn't move, just writes something small on his legal pad, then draws a box around it. "Your Honor," the petitioner's attorney concludes, "we request emergency guardianship so that Ms. Walker's daily needs and the trust can be responsibly managed until she stabilizes." Judge Peabody nods once. "Mr. Donovan?" Richard stands. He is not theatrical. He is a scalpel. "What we've heard," he begins, "are polished narratives stripped of context." He steps to the lectern, opens a binder, and the courtroom air changes temperature. "We will show not a mother spiraling, but a mother living in a hospital for 8 months, advocating, documenting, paying, deciding. We will also show a coordinated effort by petitioners who did not attend Caleb Walker's funeral to seize control of the trust intended for his care, and failing that, for Ms. Walker." He calls the records administrator from Memorial Hospital first. A woman in her 50s with square glasses and a lanyard full of keys takes the stand.
"Ms. Winters," Richard says, "please tell the court what your audit revealed." She clears her throat. 2 weeks ago, someone accessed Caleb Walker's complete medical file using an outdated emergency contact authorization. Our logs show that access originated from a device registered to Victoria Walker. A ripple goes through the benches. Victoria sits straighter, face blank, eyes hot. "That access complied with hospital policy," Richard continues. "It did not. It violated patient privacy." "Thank you." He calls Dr. Levine next, Caleb's oncologist. White coat in his lap, hands folded, voice firm. Ms. Walker was present at every appointment. She asked informed questions. She never interfered with care. She championed it. In 18 months, I never had cause to question her judgment. "Did the hospital ever file a report of concern?" Richard asks. "No," Dr. Levine says. Nurses noted grief responses, appropriate under the circumstances. Ms. Walker was a model caregiver. Richard introduces a stack of exhibits. My calendars mapping every infusion and blood draw, financial ledgers showing rent paid, utilities current, medical bills negotiated, a letter from my former supervisor detailing my leave of absence to care for Caleb, and a neighborhood petition signed by 23 residents attesting to my daily routines and sobriety. Angela walks to the stand. Her cardigan looks like armor. Under oath, her voice is a steady river. "I cooked. I sat with Caleb. I watched Destiny keep detailed logs, temperatures, meds, intake. When she cried, she did it in the hallway and then washed her face and went back in. She did not falter."
Did you observe the petitioners at the hospital? Richard asks. Angela looks toward my family with a gaze that is not unkind, merely factual. No, not once. Richard returns to the lectern, flips a tabbed divider. Your Honor, Ethan Walker, the grantor of the trust, also left a notarized statement of intent. With the court's permission? The judge nods. Richard reads, "If the worst occurs, the remainder will provide for Destiny. No third parties are to direct or control the fund without her explicit consent." He lets the words stand in the room. "Finally, Your Honor," he says, "we have audio and video recordings relevant to the petitioner's motives and methods." The monitor on the clerk's desk flickers to life. Riverside Coffee appears, sun-striped windows, the envelope on the table. The court hears my mother's voice. "Once the guardianship is approved, we can settle Victoria's mortgage situation." Victoria's. "And the beach house repairs. The contractor needs $50,000. My father's. "Once we have guardianship, we can use the money however we want. Destiny won't have any say." The room goes quiet in the way a field goes quiet when a hawk passes overhead. Richard clicks next. My porch fills the screen. The red dot blinks in the corner. Victoria's voice pours into the courtroom, low and sugared. "We can keep your episodes private if you sign, or we can make you disappear." The mask slips to bone. "You were always the burden. We carried you. Now it's your turn to carry us." My sister's face goes bloodless. Melissa's pen stops turning. Judge Peabody leans forward, hands steepled. "Cross, Mr. Harrington?" The petitioner's attorney stands, but the wind is out of his suit. He tries to rehabilitate Melissa. "Would you say you were frightened for Destiny?" And she nods vigorously, eyes shining. He tries with my mother. "Your intention was care." And she whispers, "Always." The words curdle against the recordings. He declines to cross Dr. Levine. He does not look at Miss Winters. Richard doesn't bother with flourish. He rests his hand on my shoulder as he sits. His palm is warm and ordinary and anchors me to the chair. Judge Peabody removes her glasses and folds them deliberately. I'm ready to rule. We stand, then sit at her gesture. She looks down at the petition, then up at my family. The stillness in her face is not mercy. It is judgment settling its weight. The court has heard allegations of incapacity. What the court has seen is a mother who documented, decided, and persisted through extraordinary circumstances with clarity and care.
We have also seen a coordinated effort by petitioners to access private medical records improperly, to manipulate public perception, and to obtain control over a trust to which they have no legal claim. She turns one page, the sound loud as a gavel. The emergency petition for guardianship is denied and dismissed with prejudice. Petitioners are enjoined from filing on similar grounds. Furthermore, the court orders an immediate restraining order prohibiting petitioners from contacting Miss Walker pending a full investigation. My mother makes a soft sound like air leaving a bag. My father's jaw pulses. Victoria stares at the tabletop as if she could will a door to open there. In addition, Judge Peabody says, voice like a blade, this court is referring the matter of unauthorized access to medical records to the hospital's ethics committee and to the district attorney's office for review. The court is also referring potential perjury by Miss Bennett and Mr. and Mrs. Walker to the prosecutor. Finally, the trust shall be secured against further challenge. Any attempt to interfere will be met with sanctions. She looks at me, and for the first time, her expression gentles. Miss Walker, your conduct under impossible strain honors your son. My throat closes. I nod because I cannot make a sound that won't break me. Court is adjourned. The gavel doesn't slam, it lands. Chairs scrape. The bailiff steps between our tables when my parents stand. Richard packs with the speed of someone who knows when to move and when not to. Breathe, he says. Angela reaches me first at the aisle. We don't hug. We press foreheads for a second, like people who have fought on the same wall. He'd be so proud, she whispers. In the hallway, the air is brighter, thinner, a shock of oxygen after the pressurization of the courtroom. Ethan's parents are there. Martha's hands find mine. George's eyes are wet and defiant. You did it, Martha says. I hear the plural in her voice. We did it. Reporters hover near the doors, microphones poised. A month ago, I would have ducked. Today, when someone asks, Ms. Walker, how do you feel? I say, today, the truth was enough. Outside, the day has been rinsed. The courthouse steps fall away like a river of stone. I touch the locket at my throat, feeling the small bump where the photo folds behind the silver. For a second, the world goes quiet, except for Caleb's laugh in the back of my mind, the real laugh from before, high and uncontained. A sound that breaks and remakes everything it touches. Richard descends beside me. He'll lick their wounds. They may try new angles, defamation, whispers, but the legal door is shut. Then we build. Then we build, he echoes. At the bottom of the steps, Angela's Buick waits like a faithful animal. I take one last look at the doors we just walked through. Inside, a judge weighed lies against receipts and chose the heavy thing. I get in the car, buckle my belt, and for the first time in a year, the click sounds like a beginning.
1 week after the ruling, I sit across from a financial advisor whose desk gleams like a stage. He talks in careful nouns: principal, endowment, glide path. I listen, pen steady over a yellow pad, the numbers finally sounding like tools instead of traps. We can sustain a 5% draw without touching the core, he says, sliding a proposal across. It would fund scholarships, emergency grants, and a pediatric hematology fellowship annually. The fellowship is non-negotiable, I say. Name it after him. Caleb Walker Fellow in Pediatric Hematology. He nods, makes a note. Done. I initial boxes, sign lines. The desk lamp pools gold over my handwriting. My hands don't tremble. Outside, Angela's Buick idles at the curb. She leans across to pop the lock when I open the door. "How's our war chest?" she asks. "Not a war," I say, buckling in. "A bridge." She smiles at that, a small, fierce thing. Good. The local paper runs the story on a Sunday. Mother vindicated in trust battle. Judge cites coordinated attempt. The photo shows me leaving the courthouse, chin up, Richard a step behind. I expect shame to rise like heat. It doesn't. What rises is something else. Quiet, heavy, earned. Messages bloom on my phone like a garden I didn't plant. Former coworkers, nurses, parents from the unit. We saw. We're proud. Ethan's parents send a photo from their living room, a shoebox of Caleb's drawings they found in a closet, dinosaurs shaped like thunderstorms. Victoria's engagement is postponed indefinitely. Her fiancé's statement says, values misalignment. My mother posts a verse about forgiveness without apology. My father goes silent. Richard files the restraining order paperwork the next morning. The judge signs it that afternoon. 1,000 feet might as well be 1,000 miles. My house exhales. That night, Angela organizes a meal train whether I want one or not. I open my door to casseroles with foil lids and soups in mason jars, fresh bread and handwritten notes. Family, I'm learning, is sometimes what shows up with carbs and a steady gaze. 2 months later, a plaque is drilled into a fresh painted wall on the 4th floor of Memorial. A school of bright fish swims across the corridor. Orange, blue, green. Caleb's favorites. The plaque reads, Caleb Walker Memorial Wing. I press my palm to the brass and feel cool, then warm, then mine. A nurse with an efficient bun and kind eyes approaches, hand extended. I'm Jennifer Abrams, first Caleb Walker Fellow. Her handshake is firm. Your fund paid for my specialty rotation and a course in advanced heme-onc protocols. I start full-time next week. Caleb would have beamed. He wanted to be a doctor. He wore superhero pajamas to every chemo appointment. She smiles. Then he'd approve of the fish. The unit smells like lemon cleaner and hope. We walk past a room where a child sleeps with a stuffed giraffe under his arm. Beyond him, a teenager in a knit cap spells out a word puzzle with her mother. A father stands at a window, staring down at the parking lot with his hands jammed in his pockets. The posture is familiar. How you stand when your body doesn't know what else to do with itself. Do you want to see the family lounge? Jennifer asks. The lounge used to be 3 chairs and a beige coffee machine. Now it's soft couches, a microwave that works, a bulletin board with information about housing assistance and meal vouchers under the heading Caleb's Legacy Foundation. Angela appears from the doorway, lanyard askew, a clipboard hugged to her chest. She's wearing a volunteer t-shirt 2 sizes too big. These flyers won't staple themselves, she says, mock stern. Where have you been, Madam Founder? Learning the difference between a glide path and a runway, I say. We laugh. It's an easy sound. We didn't have that sound for a long time. We sit and revise the intake form we drafted at my kitchen table. Name, diagnosis, distance from hospital, immediate needs. We argue about whether childcare for siblings should be a box or a line. We decide both. Richard stops by to sign pro bono agreements with the hospital social worker. He wears a tie with tiny anchors on it, a private joke, I think now, about holding fast in storms. Ethan's parents arrive with a garment bag full of tiny crocheted hats they found at a church group that wanted to help. Martha picks up a lemon bar someone left on the counter. She says, your son always wanted the yellow ones. He said they looked like sunlight. For a moment, the room brightens in a way that isn't the overhead fluorescence. 3 families move into hotel rooms near the hospital on foundation vouchers before the month ends. One dad calls me from the parking lot crying because he couldn't afford gas until our gift card. A mother at the vending machines tells me our grocery delivery made her believe in strangers again. I started tending a Wednesday night support group in the church basement, 2 blocks from Memorial. The first time, I sit in the back, the folding chair cold under my legs. The second time, I speak.
The first step, I say, palms open, is believing you can do this. The second is knowing you don't have to do it alone. Heads nod. A man with a Red Sox cap wipes his eye with the heel of his hand. A teenage girl looks at me the way I used to look at nurses, like they might know a door I can't see yet. After the meeting, a woman hangs back. My daughter, she says, rare blood disorder. Your foundation helped with rent this month. She hesitates. Thank you.
I want to say, don't think me, think him. I want to say this is the only thing that makes any of it make sense. Instead, I say, come by the lounge. The coffee's decent now. We hug awkwardly, and it feels like church. At home, I turn the guest room into an office. The wall becomes a map, counties colored by need, pins marking partner clinics. A whiteboard lists tasks in green marker. Quarterly board meeting, grant cycle, audit prep. I buy a stapler that feels good in the hand and a plant that refuses to die. The house stops sounding like an echo chamber and starts sounding like a person lives here. One evening, I find Caleb's action figure in the back of a drawer, the plastic hero I laid on his casket and later asked the cemetery worker to retrieve because I wasn't ready to let it go. The paint is still chipped at the helmet. I set it on the office shelf between a file labeled Emergency Grants and a photo of him building a sandcastle with Ethan, both of them laughing at a wave that stole their bucket and gave it back. I talk out loud sometimes while I work. What do you think, buddy? 2 fellows next year? 3? It doesn't feel crazy. It feels like board consultation with a minor who had very strong opinions about capes. 6 months pass. My mother emails once through Richard's office with the subject line, "We should talk," and a body that says nothing. We don't. Melissa posts photos from a new job in a new city. My father appears in a business article about a restructuring that sounds like a pink slip in a suit. Victoria goes quiet on the internet. Silence can be a mercy. It can also be a sentence. The restraining order holds like good architecture. On quiet afternoons, I sit on the back steps and drink tea with Angela while the neighbor's dog chases something only he can see. We argue about tomatoes. We watch storms roll across the cul-de-sac like theater. I say, strange how grief takes up less room when purpose moves in. Angela squeezes my knee. Purpose pays rent, she says. Grief just squats. We laugh again, and the sound is easy. A year to the day after we lowered the small white box into ground that smelled like rain, I park under the old maple at Cedar Grove. The morning is sharp and bright, the kind of blue that makes edges crisp. I carry fresh flowers in one hand and the action figure in the other. His headstone is simple, Caleb Walker, dates, a line we picked when I could barely see, brave and bright. I kneel, brush leaves away, set the flowers into the holder. My fingertips trace the letters like braille for the heart. A voice behind me. Are you Destiny? I turn. A woman in a denim jacket stands there holding the hand of a girl with new hair growing in soft fuzz. The girl's eyes are the exact green of new grass. I'm Sarah, she says. This is Emma. Your foundation paid for us to stay near the hospital. The fellow, Jennifer, she found a clinical protocol that worked when nothing else did. Her voice wobbles. My daughter is alive because of your son. Emma releases her mother's hand and steps forward with the solemnity of a small queen. Thank you, she says, and the words are not small at all. I kneel so we're eye level. I think he would have liked you, I say. He liked brave people. Emma nods, considering this. I get my port out next week, she announces. Big day, I say. Mom says we're getting pancakes after, she adds, conspiratorially. 2 stacks, I advise, and she giggles, then winces because laughter still pulls. We laugh softer together. When they leave, I sit with the stone and the water and the wind until the sun shifts enough to warm the granite. I pull the action figure from my pocket. For a year, I couldn't put it down. Today, my hand opens without shaking. I kept my promise, I tell the engraved name. What's yours is protected, and it's bigger now. It has doors, it has windows, it has your name on a wall that helps kids breathe easier. I set the figure against the base of the headstone, the plastic helmet aimed at the sky. It looks like a sentinel. It looks like he's on watch. Family isn't always blood, I say. Not to argue with anyone, but to agree with the year that taught me. It's the ones who stand in the rain with you. It's the ones who bring soup. It's the ones who sign papers without asking for credit and drive you home when your hands won't stop shaking. The maple shifts. Light frets across grass. A bird drops down, considers, leaves. A breeze runs a hand through my hair like a mother who remembers how. I stand. My knees crack. I press my palm to the stone again, just once, then turn toward the path. The air smells like cut grass and lemon cleaner and something else, something like a door opening. On the way out, I pass the caretaker, cap tipped low over his eyes. He nods, and I nod back. There's a world to return to, a board meeting at 2, a grant application due Friday, a teenager waiting in the lounge because her mom had to work the night shift, pancake recommendations to text to Sarah. At the gate, I stop and look back. The sun throws a square of light over Caleb's name. It feels like blessing, like permission. I touch the locket at my throat, the silver warm from my skin. We're okay, I say into the morning. We're more than okay. Then I walk toward the car, the road, the plan, the life, brave and bright, the way he taught me, ready to build what comes next.